Hi all. Russia takes revenge for the Crimean Bridge and the retreat of troops along the fronts. Or is it the new army commander Surovikin? It all started in Zaporozhye. At about 6 a.m. Russian troops shelled a residential area. The rocket hit the house, the entrance was destroyed. As a result, one person died, 5 people were injured, including one child. At 7 a.m., an air alert was announced throughout Ukraine. A total of 83 missiles and an unknown number of Iranian drones were fired. The Russian Federation was hit with high-precision X-101, X-555 missiles, and they also used Caliber, Iskander, S-300 and Tornado missiles. The armed forces of Ukraine destroyed 45 missiles of various types and 9 drones. Consequences in Kyiv. As a result of a rocket attack on the city center, cars in which civilians were traveling to work burned down. 8 people died, 24 were injured. Playground was. The pedestrian glass bridge survived. For the cities, they hit critical infrastructure facilities in 8 regions and in Kyiv. There were more than 30 fires. There is no electricity in 5 regions: Lviv, Poltava, Sumy, Kharkiv and Ternopil. In other areas, the light is partially absent. After the shelling of Dnipropetrovsk, at least 4 were killed and 19 were wounded. In just one day of shelling, 19 people were killed and 105 wounded. Second day of shooting. Zaporozhye. 12 S-300 missiles, 2 of them hit the car dealership, 1 person died. In total, 7 people died and 7 were injured. Vinnytsia. Tech hit. There is no electricity in half of the city again. 6 people were injured. In Lviv, there is a partial lack of electricity. More than 100 shells of the Russian Federation fired at Nikopol at night. A 6-year-old girl and her mother were injured. The girl had to have her legs amputated. More than 30 high-rise buildings and private houses were damaged. In Nikolaev, shelling with S-300 missiles was carried out, hitting a 5-story building. An 11-year-old boy was pulled out from under the rubble, who had been under the rubble for 6 hours. Search work continues. 7 more people cannot be found. Ukrainian air defense shot down 20 missiles, 13 drones. In parallel with the missile attack, news appeared in the chats of the growing channels. The first is that Zelensky will be urgently evacuated to a bunker in western Ukraine. The second news is that the offensive began from Belarus. The third says that the embassies of the EU countries received an emergency evacuation order from Kyiv, presumably to Poland. The fourth news says that the Russians went on the offensive on all fronts. None of this has been confirmed. Lukashenko said that Kyiv was preparing a strike against Belarus. NATO and European countries also want to attack Belarus. Together with Putin, they agreed on the deployment of joint regional groupings of troops. The morning is difficult. We are dealing with terrorists. Dozens of missiles, Iranian, Shaheds. They have 2 targets. Energy facilities, throughout the country. Kyiv region and Khmelnytsky region, Lviv and Dnipro, Vinnytsia, Frankiv region, Zaporizhia, Sumy region, Kharkiv region, Zhytomyr region, Kirovohrad region, south. They want panic and chaos, they want to destroy our energy system. They are hopeless. The second target is people. Such a time and such targets were specially chosen to cause as much damage as possible. Stay in shelters today, always follow the safety rules. And always remember, Ukraine was before this enemy appeared, Ukraine will be after him. For the first time since the beginning of the war, Russia has appointed the commander of a special operation in Ukraine. They became General of the Army of the Russian Federation Sergei Surovikin, also known as the Butcher from Syria. His tactics are distinguished by the destruction of the civilian population, the destruction of infrastructure, mass terror. Putin is afraid of a military coup. The National Guard in Moscow is on full alert. The Mirror. Putin's 18,000 guards reportedly set up checkpoints at the entrance to Moscow and carried out arrests of suspected servicemen. On the evening of October 10, rallies were held in major European capitals. On October 11, an online summit of G7 leaders took place. Zelensky proposed to place peacekeepers on the border of Ukraine with Belarus in order to remove any provocations from Lukashenko. The UN General Assembly adopted a resolution condemning Russia's attempt to annex the occupied territories of Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson and Zaporizhia regions. 143 out of 193 member countries voted yes. 5 countries spoke against: Russia, Belarus, North Korea, Syria and Nicaragua. Also, during these couple of days, many countries pledged to supply Ukraine with the necessary weapons as soon as possible. Russia is a terrorist state. Subscribe to the channel. There will be a lot of news. See you soon.